Hello everyone, Time to Grind here, and today I wanted to talk about the illusion a lot of gamers have. And obviously, not talking about everybody here, but it seems like a lot of people really think that big game companies really care about their players. And all they're trying to do is make us have the most grand of time, the most fun we could possibly have, and that's all they're wanting. They're our friends, you know, they're our family, you know, they're just trying to have us the best time ever. And, you know, I'm mainly talking about big game companies because I know that there are a lot of very small indie teams that truly do care about, you know, like the players and trying to have them have the most fun as possible. Obviously, for this entire video, we can't really speak in guarantees or for sures because of the fact that, you know, we can't really understand the motives behind anybody, you know, on anything. But for the most part, it seems like there's a lot of indie game companies that really care about their players. And, you know, a big example I could think of would be MegaCrit with the people working on Slay the Spire. You know, I've gushed about that game before, but it's an early access game that is one of the best early access, you know, examples I could give as a early access done right. And the developers just really care about their game. I mean, it's insane. It really shows. And, you know, they're very friendly and communicative with the, you know, player base, and it really feels like they're just trying to make everybody have the most fun as possible, and that's great. But, you know, and there's some exceptions most likely even in the AAA title company. You know, although Nintendo is doing some very, very disgusting things right now, especially when it comes to emulators and stuff like that. And, you know, they're still doing the whole, you can't even show Nintendo footage, otherwise your channel gets taken down. You know, it's a little drastic, but, you know, Nintendo doesn't like people using their intellectual property. But nonetheless, it seems like they do kind of care about players and, you know, how much fun they're having, especially with how hard they work on, you know, some of their games like Smash games and stuff like that. But the main example I want to talk about to kind of, you know, illustrate that most big game companies do not care about you at all is Bethesda, and in particular Fallout 76. So I've talked about Fallout 76 a couple times on this channel, and, you know, one of the latest videos I talked about was, you know, why Fallout 76 wasn't coming to Steam and why other games like it aren't coming to Steam. And, you know, obviously in that video I talked about one of the biggest reasons is most likely because they don't want to have to pay the Steam tax, which if you didn't watch the video, it's just, you know, logically if your game's on Steam, around 30% of all the money you make from your game, whether it's in-app purchases or just the game sale, is going to Steam because, you know, Steam's hosting the servers, Steam's hosting, if you're a multiplayer game, the multiplayer servers, they're hosting the store page, you know, they're doing a lot, but they do take about 30% depending on how big your company is. And so Fallout 76 isn't coming to Steam, and obviously, most likely it's because of that. I mean, there might be a couple other reasons, but, you know, it's because they don't want to pay the Steam tax, and let's be honest, they're big enough they don't have to. It's not like some random indie game coming out that's like, we don't need Steam, we can sell it on our, you know, this isn't an indie dev. People are going to, if you don't know what the Bethesda client is, you will if you want to play Fallout 76 because you will download it. It doesn't matter if it's on Steam. They're big enough, and, you know, that's what we see with Origin doing and stuff like that. But today, or not, you know, today I kind of read an article that's a couple days old, but first time I saw it, and it's that Fallout 76 won't be on Steam because Bethesda wants a quote-unquote direct relationship with players. And that's baffling to me because I read some comments both on, you know, the site I read the article on, which was PCGamesN.com, and also on Reddit because it was linked to on Reddit. And a lot of people, I mean, there were a couple people that weren't buying this, and they were clearly saying, no, let's be honest, this is just because they don't want to pay the Steam tax. But there were a lot of people that were convinced. There were a lot of people that were like, you know, that makes sense. I think Bethesda really does want a direct relationship. They don't want to have to go through channels like Steam. You know, they want to just, you know, communicate directly with us. You know, they want us to have the most fun experience possible, so it would make sense they want to be on the... It's like, no, that's not a thing. Steam has perfectly good tools to use if you actually want to do that. Like I said, talk about Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire, I mean, every week their patch notes are plastered on, not only in the game library, but on the store page as well. You know, you can join their Discord as well, which they plaster all over Steam as well, and even in the game, I believe, or at least like the Reddit or something. to communicate with the devs, to give them feedback and stuff like that. I mean, way early on, I discovered a game-breaking bug, and I, went in the, bug channel for, Slay the Spire. I talked to, within like 5 minutes, one of the devs DM'd me, and I had a conversation with him for about 15 minutes to see how, he could figure out why the bug was caused, and he ended up figuring out, and he put out a hotfix the next day, or I believe it was like that night, that fixed it for everybody else. And if you're curious, it was like a bug that was causing people's like save files to just stop allowing you to unlock anything because it like claimed you were cheating or something like that. So I don't know, but it was fixed because a lot of people were having that issue as well, and I helped him with it. And but it was like the fact that I found the Discord. Within 5 minutes, a dev immediately, talked to me. I mean, there's channels for that. It doesn't have to be in your own client, and a lot of people are buying this. And it's kind of the same thing with Star Wars Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront 2, I mean, it was, you guys know if you follow the gaming industry, even remotely, how much of a disaster Star Wars Battlefront 2 was, the launch of it. And they were addressing things, and they're like, oh, we really care about the players, and we're getting this feedback, and, we understand, we're going to be working on a better direction, we really want you guys to have as much fun as possible, so we're trying to balance out. It's like, no. That you're full of crap. That's not how this works. If you truly cared about the players, you wouldn't have first of all, loot boxes in your game, let alone pay-to-win loot boxes. None of these big companies care about us. They want to have the illusion that they care. I mean, you have some companies, EA normally doesn't. They're known for being the crap company that hates customers, and they're fine with that apparently. But with Star Wars Battlefront 2 in particular, they kind of tried to start acting like they were caring and listening to feedback, and they really wanted to make the game the best way possible so the most people could have the most fun. And I mean, I'm not trying to talk about like the game developers in particular, because I guarantee you there are some people that worked on Star Wars Battlefront 2 that are heartbroken. They spent so much time working and just crafting this. I mean, the gameplay was good itself for the most part. It was just the lack of, content after that whole thing came out and that whole pay-to-win fiasco in the first place. And I'm not saying that, some of the developers might, their kind of intentions might not to be, have the players have the most fun, but a game company as a whole, especially AAA title companies, are trying to make money. And unfortunately, a lot of them just choose the route of, let's just be as scummy as possible, make as much money as possible, because overall, we can just apologize and a lot of people will forgive us. And then we'll keep doing the same thing over and over and over, and we'll be good. And that sucks. And I feel like a lot of people buy into that when we really shouldn't be. And like I said, there's a lot of indie devs to be praised. And, even maybe some big, AA studios or AAA studios that actually do care. But for the majority, companies like Activision Blizzard or, Bethesda or a lot of these big companies, they don't care. And, it might seem like when I said Activision Blizzard, you think, well, I mean, the Overwatch dev team, they seem fun. They seem like they're, trying to have, and that's different because that's the individual team working on Overwatch. But I'm talking about who owns them, Activision Blizzard. And Activision Blizzard does not care. Activision Blizzard cares about making as much money as possible to put in the pockets of their shareholders, and that's the unfortunate world we live in. But you just kind of have to watch out for it and just not eat up all of this stuff. So when they're like, well, Bethesda wants a direct relationship with players, so that's why Fallout 76 won't be on Steam. It's like, no. There's not much we can do. I mean, we can be angry. It's not on Steam. We can be angry. And, we can express that, our outrage. Don't send death threats like I've talked about before to the developers because you're dumb if you do that. But, you need to realize that everything these big game companies are telling you aren't true almost 99% of the time. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to, talk about in this pretty much rant. But if you guys have any opinions on this, like I've always said, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Part of fun of making these videos isn't even, talking at you guys, but it's the conversation that comes afterwards. And if you guys enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. New videos come out every Wednesday and Sunday. And like always, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day.